What's up, hog hunters? Welcome back to Single Hook Hogs Fishing, keeping you ready and motivated for trout fishing in Pennsylvania and surrounding areas. I'm Corporal Hood. We have our weekly giveaway today. You're getting a 3-pack Hofmann's Lures Inc. We got a box of spinners we're giving away. We're doing this every week. We try to get them out Thursdays, but last week it was Friday. Sorry, this week we're a little slow, but Thursday, Friday, we're going to keep this up every week till opening day. We're going to get into the details on how you can win 3 of these lures here at the end of this video. But in the meantime, Mike D commented on the channel. He said he'd like to see a little bit more about intro to fly fishing, things like that. And we're not going to get into all that today, but we are going to give you a little tip. If you are looking for a fly rod, opening day's coming up. As you know, in the winter and the late months here at Single Hook Hogs Fishing, we tend to do a little more fly fishing, basically because there's more water available to fly fish. And it's a different challenge that we've really come to enjoy over the past few years. With that being said, we've only been fly fishing for about 3.5 years, so we're still fresh in that beginner stage, and this is something we can really help you out with. Let's go ahead, take a look. I got 2 rods in front of me. One of them's a graphite rod, one of them's a carbon rod. Both of these rods are really nice rods, and you're not going to break the bank. Some people might say they're a beginner rod, but I don't really feel like they'd be a beginner rod because one of them actually has a lifetime no-fault warranty on it. And you can definitely find success on the water with either of these options or something similar. The 3 things we're going to touch on today is size, weight, and action. As far as line, reel, everything like that, we'll touch on that down the line. First of all, when fishing for trout, you want to be in that 8-foot to 9-foot range. 8'6" 4 weight, 8'6" 5 weight, that's going to be a good rod. The rod I actually prefer for trout fishing is a 9-foot 5 weight rod. The nicest rod I own is an 8'6" 4 weight. However, if you get into those bigger trout, you really have a little bit of control issue sometimes, especially on those carbon rods. That tip will start to bounce. Not so much an issue on the graphite rod, but you do lose sensitivity with the graphite rod. We'll get into that here in a second. Back to the size. Personally, I like that 9'5" 5 weight. You can still get a really nice presentation. 9 feet's manageable in relatively tight spaces where you're going to be fly fishing on the sides of the creeks. And if you get into some bigger fish, 15, 20 plus inches especially, that 5 weight is something you're really going to be thankful you have when you're on the water. But if you're just fishing for really small brook trout, or you're fishing for general smaller trout, 15 inches and under, you can get by with a 4 weight, no problem. But price isn't a difference in that category. 5 weight, 4 weight, they're pretty much going to be the same price wherever you go. Next, we're going to touch on action. When you're talking about action, what that means is how long that load time is on that rod. So if you have a very fast rod, that load time is going to be very shallow or very short. And what that means is when you're fly fishing, if you don't know this or just starting fishing or you haven't fly fished before, the way you cast that line is like a whip. You have to let that line load. So you're pulling from a 10 position straight back to a 2 position. And once you feel the weight on the end of that line, you're going to send that line forward, and you're using the weight of the line to load that line and push that line forward. Now, with that being said, the action that I would personally recommend for somebody just starting out would be medium, potentially medium fast, but definitely not a fast rod. With a fast rod, it's going to allow you to get through mistakes that are going to haunt you down the line. The slower that load time, the more accurate you have to be with your fundamentals. The more you have to focus on what you're doing. Plus, that slower load time in the beginning is going to give you an opportunity to look around for a second and focus on that back cast and maybe give some adjustment on your wrist or on your forearm when you're sending that line forward if it's not going exactly where you thought it was going to go. But with a really fast rod, once you start that load, it's coming back and it's going to go. And you could really run into trouble with snags and some things like that. Personally, I've noticed that a slower rod has helped me maintain my fundamentals to the point where I go all the way down and fish a glass rod from time to time just to reinforce that casting mechanism, because the slower the rod, the more accurate and patient you're going to have to be with that load, and there's more time to make a mistake. Therefore, when you move up to a faster rod, you're going to be more developed, more accurate, much more confident and capable on the rod. So reiterating real quick, we're looking at like a 9'5" 5 weight, 8'6" 4 weight, potentially a 9'4" 4 weight if that's something you'd be into as well. But you want to go medium fast. This moonshine drifter right here, that's a medium fast rod, and that's the graphite rod. And this TFO blue ribbon right here is the carbon rod. And speaking of action, when fishing the graphite rod, what you're going to get a little bit slower action, or at least this moonshine has a little bit slower action than that TFO in front of us. But graphite rods tend to have a little bit more backbone compared to sensitivity in the tip. So you're going to lose some sensitivity, but you're going to have a lot of backbone. You're really going to have a solid controllability on a big fish. I pulled in a 26.5-inch brown trout with this moonshine rod right here, and I can tell you that I was in control. I couldn't necessarily move them, but I felt like I was in control. I didn't have a lot of bouncing on the tip. Everything was just tight. Really, really nice rod. Caught a lot of fish on that rod. I have a lot of confidence in that rod. The carbon rod, on the other hand, it's going to be a little more sensitive in the tip, not quite as much backbone, but you're just going to have to be a little more detailed with your drag and your strip there with a carbon rod, because you can easily get into a situation you start getting that bounce in the tip and you can lose a fish, and that's going to happen with a carbon rod quicker than it's going to happen with a graphite rod. But if you're getting a carbon rod and you're getting into trout fishing, you might really want to consider that 5-weight, because it's going to give you more control. You'll see in Sunday's video, we had a very unique experience with this blue ribbon, first time out on the water. Not exactly what we wanted, however, it did really put this rod to the test, because we had a fish on there that was just running and full of power, and we couldn't figure out why this fish wasn't losing energy, but we did in the end. But really put this rod to the test. The rod really performed, and you'll see in Sunday's video, it's just holding that curve. No bounce. It started to bounce a little bit on me, but I just kind of stripped in a little bit, tightened it up, and it just held that nice controllable arch, and that's what you want. You don't want that tip bouncing like that. And that's pretty much what you want to consider when you're looking for a trout rod. You have our recommendation, but you want to go with maybe an 8-foot 6-4 weight, 9-foot 5 weight, and you don't have to break the bank. You can get some amazing trout rods for under $400. Both of these rods are well under $400. TFO is an amazing company. Love these rods. I have 2 of these. I have their LK Legacy also. Lifetime, no fault warranty once they're registered, and they are nice rods. If you have a problem with them being made in Korea, hey, for me it's about performance and support and what I'm getting for my money. And you're getting a lot for your money with TFO, that's for sure. The moonshine rod right here in the back is definitely priced under market value. Have to say that. But what you are going to deal with is very slow return times on repairs. They do send you an extra tip, so that's cool. But a rod like that goes down, your season could be over. With the TFO, you go to a place like Precision Fly and Tackle in Lancaster, you buy that rod, it breaks, you take the rod back, they give you one off the shelf, you walk out, you're in the game, no big deal, no questions asked. And I've really come to like these TFO rods. We're going to be getting back on the gear rod here come spring, but as we said, in the later months, pretty much November into March, well, NIMROD's coming up on the 18th and 19th, up until NIMROD's, we're on that fly rod. There's a lot more places you can fish, and it's a challenge we've really come to enjoy, and we think you'll enjoy it too. But first things first, you want to get the right rod. It's also very important that you go to the shop. You want to put the rod in your hand. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't. I actually got this moonshine to replace an Orbis Clearwater that was stolen from me. Found it online for a great price, and when I got it, I was just absolutely amazed, to the point where we almost got another one, but we decided to check out TFO, which came highly recommended from some very experienced guides, so we went that direction. But anyway, y'all, really appreciate the support. Let's go ahead and get into the details about how we're going to do that Hofmann's Lures giveaway right here. So we're going to ask a little more from you. You're going to get 3-pack Hofmann's Lures spinners, absolutely free, no shipping. You're just going to get them in the mail. What we need you to do is go check out www.hli.fish, and we're going to need the price of that hipster. You already gave us that in the first giveaway. We also want to know what year Hofmann's Lures was founded and who the original founder was, y'all. So once again, what's the price of that 1/8 ounce hipster? What year was Hofmann's Lures founded, and who was the original founder? First 13 people to comment, names going in a hat. We'll do the drawing, announce the winner next week, and we're going to send you those lures. You can get all that information at www.hli.fish. And those 2 questions about what year they were founded and who the original founder was be found in their About section on their website. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Follow us on that Facebook channel, Single Hook Hogs Fishing. And we'll see you next time, y'all. Single Hook Hogs out.